Hello, and thanks for joining us on this tried and true battle report. If you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing to the channel and keep up to date on our bat rep and podcast releases. If you would like to support the channel directly, a link to our Patreon can be found in the video description below. Shout out to Filament to Fantasy on the Broken Statue set and Paul for the amazing Jade paint job. Our match today features the 2025 Steamroller Rules Scenario 5 Two Fronts. Welcoming for the first time on Tried and True from the Nova meta is Cryx. He has brought a 100-point army of Necrofactorium led by the ancient Necrotech Eviscerus. Please tell us about your strategy and list going into the game.
Hi, my name is Chris Gunther. I play out of the Virginia meta, Northern Virginia. So today I brought Eviscerus. We brought Grendel, the character jack, 4 malefactors, 2 of which have a fell axe, one that has a fell axe, Ripping Claw, 2 that have harpoons, Ripping Claw, and the other has a spiker, Ripping Claw. We brought a raptor with Beaked Maul, Arknode, Chatterbane, 1 Scarlock, a single Mechanothrall Swarm, 2 units of Necrosurgent Initiates, 2 Sludge Thrall units, and the command cards we went with was Careful Recon, Hit and Run, Lucky Penny, Old Faithful, and Put Out the Fires. And going in, I racked Carnage and Ghost Walk. The idea of this list was just to have everything be affected that I could by Eviscerus' feat and to make things go fast.
Welcoming back to Tried and True is Delaware Warmachine local Rick. He has brought 100 points of Shadowflame Shard led by the new Shard Nocturne's Conjure Warlock, Valix. Please let us know your plan and list going into the game.
Hi guys, thanks for having me back. Jumping ship over to Shadowflame today. So today I went and brought a Valix, Fate's Eclipse, Aklis, a Hydrix with a Diviner Head, Horned Piercer, Venom Spitter, and the Spineback. I have 2 Vipix, one with the Ophidian Head, Hunter's Mark, and Impalers, and then the other has Asp Head, Chasten, and Impalers. We brought Belagul and Pythia, Regulus, Wraithwing Paragon, a unit of Quickfang Windstalkers, the Shades, 2 units of Talon Lashers, and a unit of Wormspine Shadowmancers. Command cards today are Blessing of the Gods, Duck and Cover, Lucky Penny, Old Faithful, and Put Out the Fires. We racked Silence of Death and Dash for this report, and the only thing that I got in mind for this battle today are the crits.
Will the Necrofactorium forces be able to uncover the secrets of the fallen ruins under the protection of the Shard Nocturnes? Will Valix be able to repel an undead army of thralls and warjacks? Let's get to the table and roll off.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much.
All right, so we got 2 fronts here today, right?
It is 2 fronts, yep.
All right, so we got here on the board, got our deployment set up, a bunch of obstructions, several pieces of forest, scatter terrain, got water in the middle of the board, beautiful models, obviously.
Very beautiful models. I see 2 clouds, one being the forest on fire, the other being that cloud that looks to be on my side, and then scatter all in the center.
Yep. And nothing to take it off.
No, neither of us bring an 80, so that scatter is just there.
And you go ahead and get started.
Yes, so I won the die roll. I didn't want you to go first on 2 fronts. I did want that secondary scenario piece, but it seemed to be pretty centralized no matter what, so taking first away from Khymaera seemed really, really good.
Not a fan.
Just moving up here, making sure I can run everything as far as possible, getting Grendel as in your face but out of your threat as possible, and just tucking him in there. And then everything will follow.
Standard turn 1 plays.
The thought here was going for an early feat. My whole idea of my feat is to out-threaten you, which is great when you can out-threaten Khymaera, make it harder for those hunter marks since I'll be dug in soon. And I didn't feel very threatened with Eviscerus just yet. that comes later. But the plan was just to run and get ready to feed next turn.
Yeah, those digging in, getting all that extra stuff is frustrating.
So, with me having 5 heavies going into this, did you have any sort of plan going in as I'm just running them upward of how to start trading for 5 whole heavies?
I mean, I definitely had the moment where I knew I was going to have to like trade something for you, especially figuring that you were going to probably feat on turn 2. So my first turn, once we get done through all your running, is definitely kind of trying to position myself that it's juicy enough to bring you in, but not enough to like lose everything. Because if I lose way too much on this kind of first hit that I'm going to end up taking, the retaliation just gets real bad. So we go ahead and get your turn ended. I go ahead and obviously start measuring some threat ranges. I'm trying to not get the shades just kind of nuked off the board by the sludge thralls. So I need to make sure they're off to the sides, because even though they have stealth, you ignore that because of your sprays. And having that unpredictable movement on them helps me kind of get into weirdo positions that I feel safer. And then the same thing with the lashes, kind of getting them into position that if you move in to start contesting or scoring, that I'm able to kind of charge in and get to you. So my Hydrix and Vipix kind of move up into that Dust Devil. Again, like getting into my own kind of threat ranges and things like that, but at the same time, like prepping up for the following turn, that if you kind of move forward and everything, because I think we mathed it out, I can threaten the 15 inches or something like that, that with Hunter's Mark, obviously. But again, you going into cover next turn is going to be real rough. So Regulus just moves up behind everybody, always having him prepared to do either throw down his caltrops or have a potential espionage move. So we'll have to see how that goes. Pythia kind of stays within 5 of my caster, because we go ahead and make sure to get, I believe we put Silence of Death up onto the Hydrix, or Aclis. Forget which one specifically, but
I believe it's up on Atlas right now. Aclis.
Yeah, Aclis. And then I get my little stalkers to move forward. Worm speakers get into position and get prepped up and ready, and then follow up by the lashers, kind of getting there again into a position where they can threaten the board from a decent position because of how much Pathfinder I got.
Yeah, so I was definitely afraid of the lashers and the character unit shades. Both of them just doing a lot of work into my models. So at this point, you're 13 away from most of my stuff. I can feat and bring all my jacks to threat 13, 2 with Redline up to 15. But Redline is on the top side of that board there, because I wanted to try to take out Aclis with it. Was the initial thought of why I wanted it over there. So going into this turn, I know I'm going to feat. I know I'm going to hopefully remove something. Or power up, just hide out, one of the two. Sludge Thralls are going to be more of a late game piece for me. No sense just launching them in too early yet. And of course trying to come up with a plan to take out those shades, which they're out of threat, so there's not much I'm going to be able to do right now against them. So the Sludge Thralls are just going to hide out for now. They're going to become relevant later in the game. And I also need them out of the way so I'm not blowing up all my own stuff. We're going to get just out of your threat range, preparing for that feat, because when I feat, I'm also going to be able to next turn get more focus and have to allocate less out. All the jacks will be starting with 2 when they activate. My nice little jack wall, 3 heavies on 3 heavies. And the rest of this turn is really just preparing, putting up D-cell just in case you try to hit me with anything. Being armor 20 on those jacks. And a Viscerus behind the wall. Feeling pretty safe where he's at currently, even if there is a rogue ricochet shot or something. One of the things I do mess up here is I do feet dig in everyone before I've moved the jack at the top. So he's out of threat, but he's also not relevant for me. So he's got to be adjusted a little and he'll lose dig in. The sludge thralls I do have to contest. I just have to deal with the shades. And that'd be my second mistake is I don't put the full unit within 3. So I'm also not scoring that currently. Same with the raptor there. He was already dug in. And then my shield guards, just in case. It doesn't really do much in this matchup for me on that side of the board. But still nice to have them in case a vengeance gets triggered. Overall, pretty boring turn.
Yep. So my turn is not going to end up being much better because we're already starting this kind of dance of who's going to kind of start the attacks where. It's just that I get the semi-advantage of being able to try to score some stuff first, especially since the sludge thralls were not in position on the far side of the board there with the infantry. So we get our apparitions going because I only remember them about 30% of every game. So kind of getting them into better positions just in case I have to kind of move left or right. Again, I get the free upkeep from the Arcane Assist. And then we definitely start looking at where can we start scoring kind of early on because I'm already going to get the flag since it's kind of right there in the center of the board. And then we're trying to figure out where I can get to so that I can have the shades start kind of see if they can start dropping out some sludge thralls just so that there's less of them and less to deal with on opposing turns. So
yeah, and D-Cell is only covering 2 of them, so that third one's also just in the wind to start throwing shots into.
Yep, and so that's kind of like specifically the one that I was going to end up going after because like the power on the shades is kind of low. Like their whole big thing of the big shtick is that they'll have Heartseeker as a critical or under Valak's feet turn that it'll just automatically happens. But with the guy being outside of the range of D-Cell, that I can get some shots thrown over into him and try to ricochet and get some pot shot stuff off, but at least I can have the non-decelerated guy take some damage. So pop them up front there, and we start making some attacks. And I don't believe this guy was killed, but we did some damage to him.
Yeah, so there is some damage, and then comes the problem of when the shades are ever interacting with me, I get to evasive. Unless you one-shot kill them with Apox, it's not very likely. So this guy is going to evasive back into D-Cell and fix my mistake for me. That way I'm going to be armor 19.
Yep. So I finished a couple more shots, trying to get some little plinky damage, but I believe at the end of the day, it just doesn't become worth it because then you're going to start moving around again with more evasives and maybe can then start actually scoring that objective. So we end up foregoing, I think, the final 2 shots so that we don't trigger that.
Very smart, not really letting me ricochet and clean up and get the objective. Also having me explode on any of those.
Yes.
Having PAL 12 start exploding on Khymaera is not what they want.
Not at all. So Regulus moves up and gets behind the wall. He's going to be kind of my piece that helps me kind of hold on to that flag so everything else can kind of move around and go whatever. And again, just kind of threatening out that espionage ability. So we do end up moving up the Vipex that has the Chasten ability to score that objective there for me, which does put me within the threat range of Grendel, I believe. So definitely going to end up losing him is what I'm kind of thinking. and then we kind of start moving everybody up kind of into place, but I didn't want to kind of just straight up lose out on certain things. So I had to start putting more stuff into places. So Pythia moves up and just kind of make sure that she stays near my caster so I can keep that arcane assist going on. Belagul moves up into position to prepare for a following turn to make sure that I can get that enrage as I can. And I do have Valix. I believe he cast Dash this turn. Just to kind of get me to move around a little bit better. I'm just going to validate. Oh, no, I put up Marathon because for whatever reason I was thinking I was going to then upkeep it next turn and start having Sprint to move all around. So we have both of those up for the following turn. I do move the Hydrix up behind that cover there. So just in case you want to try to like harpoon me or something, that it gets kind of stuck there, depending on your angles. And then also, again, if you're trying to shoot it, I get some cover, maybe some melee cover if you're trying to fight me across it.
Yeah. So beginning of my turn, knowing that my feat still persists, so anything that activates gets an extra focus and +2 speed. I'm looking to try to get as many heavies off the board as I can. The left side, I'm a bit sad about. I'm also not going to equally be able to take a lot of them out because they're going to be outside of Carnage. So Rat and Mat 6 into 14s doesn't end super well. But what I'm going to try to do is take out as many of the heavies as I can, with Flying High, of course, being relevant. But that Jack has Redline, thankfully. So I'm able to walk him there and hopefully harpoon and get Aklis all the way back in. We have a lovely cat that was letting me know that he was there for me.
I did not feel supported at all by the cats.
I felt very supported by the cats. So we're just making sure here. I'm going to try to, hopefully the plan is to take Aklis, to throw the Sludge Thralls up in that other objective and at least contest it, kill the Hydrix and kill a Vipix, leaving you with one heavy. That is the initial plan going into this turn. So we're just allocating out any remaining focus we might need. And as we move up here to Harpoon, I'm going to be a Rat 5 boosted into Aklis. And the plan is to drag him in and then through Redline, punch him. As the roll happens, we miss completely with a glorious 5. So that plan does not happen. So now I have to switch it up because my Jack is just sitting out there in the wind. So our plan is to run the Arc Node all the way over because I need to move Redline now to the far side to get that back Vipix because he's going to be right at 15. But we're still going to go ahead and try to clear as many of those heavies as we can this turn. So we're hot swapping Redline over to Grendel, who, if he can get there, should be able to get the job done. I'm pretty confident in him. But that is me giving up my character piece into your heavies, so I do need to make sure I'm at least killing 2 of them, hopefully, and only leaving you with 1 in return. So the plan is to hopefully double score this side now, since the left side probably is not going to be going my way, with you having Aklis still, the Shades, and those Lashers. So we charge in there. And the reason for the removing the focus, he was not allocated any, just too many were in the stack, so he started with 2. And right away getting a hit, and I believe it's going to be dice even on these, or no, dice +2.
Yeah, I would say it was the dice plus on these guys.
Yes, and then with Finisher, going to make very quick work of that Vipix, and then going to be able to start working into that Hydrix next.
Yeah, I think me putting that Hydrix there as well was probably a mistake overall. Because if I lose the objective for this turn, that's fine, and I can just kind of clap back a little bit more. And having kind of another heavy in position probably would have helped out quite a bit.
So I've already damaged him a little bit, and then what really helped here was racking Ghost Walk. So since the Harpoon's not going to work to get that one, being able to instead charge and be able to go through terrain if I need or anything else. So did quite a bit of work to him, but once again, it's dice plus because of Redline being up on myself and then Finisher also being triggered. So at this point, I've thought of a slightly different plan. What if, instead of pulling Aklis, I pull the other Vipix and I clear all the heavies on that side of the board? So I first want to make sure I can get a second heavy onto that Hydrix and finish him off with the Axe, because that's now going to be PAL 20 or PAL 18. Grievous into you. And we're going to be able to drop him out. So I feel pretty confident with double scoring over here. But I do have the idea of pulling that Vipix. Maybe this Harpoon's going to work out better for me. And there we're going to see some social engineering on your part where I almost forgot to score my own objective.
Yes.
But we did it in the end, so we have a backup plan to score that, and we're going to try to pull that other Vipix.
Smiling, ear to ear. I was waiting for it.
Yep. So we're going to try to pull him, and spoiler alert, it's not going to work. And I missed the attack again, but we're able to just play the hit and run card, back up, and get onto that objective. So 0 for 2 on pulling your heavies with harpoons. They are not effective in the Khymaera for this game.
Never.
On this side, you have the advantage. My sludge thralls are way outside of Carnage. I'm not going to be able to get a ton of work. I can't aim and spray, and also contest yours, so we're just going to have to walk on up. And the idea is to still stay within 3, so I get my own objective, and just spray you down. But now I'm closer, so that if you do try to use the shades again, I can at least just evasive into the lashers, being dice off 2, and hope on some lucky rolls. I believe here, 6, being Rat 6 into Death 14, I did have a little luck, and was able to roll pretty hot. Which then gave me the brilliant idea of why not moving up my Spiker Jack and try to just shoot again. Maybe I'll get even luckier trying to take out more lashers. The less lashers, the better for me. So boosting the hit, we're going to get a little lucky again, and then just boosting damage. Not as lucky, but we're still doing something. So I just don't want you double scoring that side. The idea is trying to just push you out of a scenario. If I can go up enough, then it's hard to clap back. Well, I can't double score both. I just don't want you to be able to score that side after this.
And those other dice rolls were enough to get rid of that other lasher, so I'm down to 1 over there.
Yes. So at this point, I am a little afraid for Viscerus. While I am on 3, you are playing an army of all crits, and crazier things have happened. So we're just going to make sure you have some shield guards just in case.
And I have a feat that says the crits work.
Yeah, and we're just going to run up the sludge throws just to be extra annoying on that right side.
Yep. So kicking on back over to me, we go ahead, get back all my fury. This Vipix here is going to need to do some work. So we start kind of playing out like how the turn kind of starts looking at everything. I need to try to get rid of at least 3 heavies this turn, or I think I'm still just going to straight up just be in trouble. And I need to make sure that I'm still scoring to stay within the scenario game, so I don't just straight up lose. So I drop Marathon, I upkeep for free Silence of Death, and then I do my Apparition because this is the game that I remember it, apparently. And then we kind of start jumping into the tank a little bit in the realm of like, where am I going to go first? I start checking to see if I can bring my caster out because he has, crit brutal damage. But if I'm going to feat, then it's just straight up brutal damage. So he gets, 4 dice on a charge, all this kinds of stuff. So this needs to be my turn of like, I'm going to clap into everything. And we go ahead and try to look. I do believe that this turn, that Regulus is actually in range that I can get espionage to work.
Yes,
So,
I didn't see that one coming.
Speed 7 and range 8 on espionage seems pretty good.
Yeah, and you were just within.
Yeah, so I was just within the whole thing. So he flies up, lands there in the water, and I'm able to get the espionage off. So then I have to choose a model within 8 inches of him to move 3 inches. I choose the lasher that's behind him to move up the wall a little bit more, which gives me a little bit more distance of threatening across the board over there. So we go ahead, and I believe this is kind of where I start to go, all right, I think it's time to feat. And so, yep, so we feat, and I spend 2 on dash for the turn. So that go ahead and gives me my infantry models or my warrior models +1 speed while within my control range. So that gives me that extra little bit of distance to make sure that I can go ahead and get charging over here. So with the feet up, all of my criticals are now working. So we go ahead and get charged into that heavy. I'm making sure that I have, where my landing positions for everybody else needs to be, since I'm being very aggressive with my caster. And I'm pretty sure that we roll really well on the hit from my caster for that initial charge, getting quite a bit of damage in, and then we buy another attack, or not buy. We use my second initial to go ahead and hit, get a few more points of damage in there, and then start to proceed into wherever we're going next.
Yeah, we also retaliate my field marshal, but it does nothing into you. Unfortunately, it is just a miss.
So we start looking around the board. I still need to keep Fury on myself because I need to be able to still have transfers just in case, like I get a heavy to survive or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure I'm just getting kind of committed to quite a bit at this point. So I go ahead and I start moving my shades. Now, this is where I believe that I made probably one of the bigger mistakes of this game, and that is because I feeded for the turn and I did not use the stalkers first. On their little blow darts, they have puncture and critical shadowbind. Even if because I think we said that if I shadowbind the sludge thralls, they don't get to move, right?
They do not get to evasive, no.
Right. So if I shadow bind all of them first, which reduces the defense and makes them so they can't move, now my shades are in a more protected position because then they can't just willy-nilly get blown up on after the evasive and stuff. So, and then on top of that, I have 5 different shots with these guys for the stalkers, and that could have gone out on like 2 more of the jacks, or I could have just done 5 damage to 1 dude, or like all these other options that I could have had, and I started clogging up some areas that otherwise probably would have been a little bit better off had I just done Shadowbind first. So big whoopsie on my part in that regard, as far as like dice fixing. So definitely over there triggering a lot of like evasives, the little damage things, like are we going to blow up on my guys if I kill him, and yes, worrying about all those things. I
believe one is knocked down on 1 and the other is on 2 boxes, but yes, currently they were within threat of the shades, so now they are repoing back.
Yep.
Just so you don't get blown up on.
And making sure to stay within 3 of that objective so that I can score it if I'm able to remove the guys that I need. So my final lasher that's over there on the side charges in and goes after the one thrall that is on the ground. Pretty sure handily just kind of takes him out, and then is able to he knocks out the one. He's gonna blow up. Oh no, I think that was the one that missed that round.
Yes, I believe you rolled snake eyes on it.
Yeah.
And nothing. You first did the bigger attack, into the one that was still up and then didn't crack, and then the other one just missed outright, or didn't break armor, I believe.
Yeah.
So they are still there, but now you can't blow them up because then you would not be contesting anymore either.
Correct. So had to stop over there. The Vipix now comes over and starts going after the heavies. So I power 17 on the Impalers is really nice. They do have critical paralysis, but it doesn't matter because you are obviously constructs. So we go ahead and we just max out the Vipix against Grendel, and I believe we do drop him because we do get enrage on him. So he's a power 19
+1.
So we're able to kind of get him out, but it does take all of my attacks to do so overall, I believe. So follow up to that, I can't let you keep scoring. So obviously the double scoring is off the table right now because of the Vipix. We go ahead and get the Paragon to go ahead and charge into that Jack as well that I've already damaged with my caster. So we go ahead and get him over because we got critical decapitation. It's gonna be great. We're gonna knock this dude out.
That was the plan.
Pretty sure I rolled 3.
I think you also rolled not high enough for my armor, and that Jack is going to remain there.
Yeah, because I strictly missed it. So I was like, okay. And then I remember, oh, these guys have Shadow Bind and all this other stuff, and like, definitely can tell that I don't play Khymaera on the regular. However, we do try to go ahead and get in here and get some random pot shots, again, specifically kind of to go after the one guy. But this is where we realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to contest anymore if I keep this up. So,
yes, if you kill both, he's going to take 2 pound 12s off 2.
Which will kill. So the first one, I think, took me down to 1 or 2 HP.
Yes.
And I was able to go, okay, we're not going to do that again, and left it alone. But it did let me score the 1 on the bottom, I think.
Yes.
Close. Yeah.
You are going to score that 40, along with, I'm still not contesting your 30 terrain feature. So you still have that one as well to bounce back, as long as you contest the other 50.
Yep. So I do have the Lasher that I moved with Espionage charge over into this Jack, because we are going to be able to get gang and all that kinds of stuff. And then I'm also going to be able to get my little repo moves to allow me to assist in contesting.
Yep. So right away, since I'm in feet, I do get knocked down.
Yep, because critical knockdown. That's great. So then everything else just auto hits, and I get some pretty decent rolls. I think they were dice off 6, but I still was doing about like 7 damage per charge, so it's pretty good. And we messed up the Jack quite a bit. Did have a roll that was not great, but that's okay. I think I rolled above average overall against this Jack anyway. I don't destroy it, but I get my 2-inch repo, which places everybody kind of contesting or latching onto a whole bunch of guys while like making sure you don't score anything on this side of the board. Pythia will then move up to help me score that flag, as well as my Shadowmancers, which all remove the focus from the Vipix, so that we are good to go there. And then I have the last heavy. He's going to go ahead and fly on in, charging in. And I think he just gets this Jack down. Because like I just needed this thing to go. And I didn't really have an opportunity to make any of his critical effects work overall. I did have Decrepitation, so I was kind of banking on that a little bit. But he's mat 7 and your defense 13, but I think I missed 2 attacks.
Yes, I do believe going in here you missed 2.
Yeah, so was not a great turn for that heavy. Overall, he probably could have gotten a bunch more stuff done, but it just wasn't in the cards for this particular round. Oh, I think he actually survived.
Yes, I think all my jacks survived. The two in the... Grendel is dead.
I did take Grendel out, so...
Yes. I do believe one jack's on 17 boxes and the other's on like 10. Mm-hmm. With only arms out or head out. I do not believe any cortexes are out.
Yeah. So... I pass it on over to you. Feeling a little lackluster about that turn, but again, I think it was just a big part of that play was just not remembering the Shadowbind to help out with a lot of those hits.
So as we started on my turn, I don't feel fantastic. Well, I have a ton of heavies, and that's a great situation. It's still just the threat of Viscerus doesn't have the toughest of stats. Your caster's front and center. And I start to ask the questions of what does your assassination actually look like? I still need Carnage to be effective on that left side, but at any point, the assassination could be there. So Viscerus needs a game plan to get out and not just be in the center of the board anymore. My Sludge Swallows are just going to move up here. We're just trying to hold that side. We're not trying to do anything other than just keep maintaining and getting that extra point. And our plan is going to be the same as before, try to kill as many of the heavies as we can. That way you don't have too much to come back into my heavies, and then try to double score, get those lashers out. That's the plan going into this turn at least. So we're looking at sprays here, since it is spray 10. I'm randomly getting the guys in the very back on some lucky rolls, but nobody actually contesting your 40, which is what I want. And I do not believe I kill a single shade, just the guys in the back there.
I believe so, yeah.
So we see here, just trying to figure out what other lines we might have or what avenue you might have. What is the full assassination threat? Now that you've got the espionage once, if you get it again, what happens? And can your caster pull me? Playing against Khymaera, you're just always afraid of things like that happening. I do believe the start of this turn I did play Old Faithful on that jack, healing him up just a little, so his arms are working. And we're going to move up and empower him. And instead of going after your caster, we're just going to go into Ackless and just try to do whatever chip damage we can into him. Since you are camping 4 and your caster does have some pretty decent stats, there's no sense in rolling into him. We did power up that other jack. And even though he doesn't have Pathfinder, he is just enough to get through on the charge. Since the Spiker does have pistol, we're going to try to take Ackless out with him. And with this, I do believe in the end, I'm going to kill Ackless or get him pretty close to death.
Yeah, I think this jack takes him out.
Yeah. So I still don't feel incredible about that side of the board, but the less heavies you have, the better. Is the game plan here. So buying more attacks, shooting him in melee, of course, and that'll be enough to kill him. Yeah,
and especially losing like Master of Ruin for like assassination runs or something.
So you take that Fury back, scaring me even further. So here we see me trying to measure out where exactly can your caster get, and how safe can I actually be. I believe we mapped it out the full gambit around 17 or 19 inches, which to stay relevant, I just can't run that far. And you can have ways of getting through the cloud. So the best option I have is to stay about 16 away, have some shield guards eventually that are going to still be within 3 of me. So they're going to activate burst, try to take out a lasher, but the back ones will be able to be shield guards for me. And through some lucky rolls, we're going to be able to hit one. And I believe that other Thrall, only being Mat 5, really didn't like that Lasher and did really well into him. My Arc Node's just going to sneak up through here and also try to get some work done. With this, I just need any resources I can to try to take out that Lasher. I want to try to save my heavies for bigger jobs. And that Lasher's still going to be alive. So this whole time, we've had a Viscerus be dug in. So every time he's been activating, he does get that extra focus, which has been nice until now. And we're just trying to see where can those surgeons get to still hand out focus to my malefactor way on the other side there. And I think this is where I had to play Blessing of the Gods just to get them up there.
Careful recon.
Careful recon, correct. And we're going to enliven that Jack just in case you try to come in with something funny after this. And Eviscerus is going to take off running. While I'm still camping quite a bit, I'm also afraid.
I say Valix can kind of just pop off with the right kind of dice rolls.
Yes. So we're going to continue just trying to clear up this 50 mil. And this Jack's whole job is just going to be killing both those lashers. And then having that enliven on him, just in case you decide to get Valak or somebody else over there, will allow me to just back up a little further. We still have the Malefactor with the axe that's going to hopefully go into that Vipix, where it'll be dice +2. And we see there that I rolled pretty high to just take out a single lasher. We're just going to try to attack. I think we do try a random harpoon, but everything has stealth, so there's no harpooning anything.
All right, I'm going to shoot this. Flying high and windstorm.
Yes.
Stealth. Having minus 3
to
range,
6 range.
Yeah, is great.
So here we are going into the Vipix, I believe, or that's what's going to happen. So the axe into that Vipix, being armor 16, axe being an 18. I do have Carnage up. Pretty easy to take him out, chopping him down. And I think one of the only things I have left is the Sludge Thralls to finally just try to contest or get in there. We do not have... There we go. We do not have Careful Recon anymore on them, so they're just going to have to charge in such a way where they're not getting hit by the scatter terrain. I'm not in the way of anything else. But what we're trying to do here, instead, we're just going to walk. And we're going to make sure we can... My initial thought was contesting, and I do not think in the end I still got within 3 to contest your scenario piece yet again. And I already played the hit and run card, so I can't get in there anyway. And after that, we're going to clock it back to you. Still not within 3, and Regulus is still alive.
Yep. So... You're able to get a double score again. So I need to get... I think we mathed it out that I have to get a double score to let the round go again. So again, we remember Apparition because I'm proficient in this particular game with that. And then we start looking that I have guys that are going to need to perform well over this turn through the Shades, the Paragon, my caster. I definitely start kind of looking at the assassination if I can still kind of maybe get over there, or some drags or whatever. I did completely forget that Valix has Vanish, so I could have had 3 additional inches on my threat as far as getting to you. So I'm not 100% sure if that would have made a difference in this particular regard. But it would have been like Regulus can get over. We did know Regulus was in espionage range again. So I would have been able to get Regulus into position to espionage, move Valix 3 inches, Vanish 3 inches, potentially dash to get to that speed 7, and then potentially get over there. But at the end of the day, it just felt like there was a lot, because you were still camping like, what, 5?
I believe I was still camping 5. Yeah, I started the turn with 8.
So getting over there and then having basically 2 attacks with 4 buys didn't feel fantastic. So the turn basically turned into, I need to just kill all the stuff that I can kill so that I can score back into the game and do what I can as far as keeping my caster alive. So I do get the shades to go ahead and start attacking into the sledge thralls, keeping them in the range to take care of the objective there. No. I hit them with the dart for the 1 point, I believe.
Yes, for the guy that was already knocked down.
And then I get my Paragon up there to do something about it, and he whiffs again.
Yeah, the Paragon was swinging with a wiffle ball.
Yeah,
wiffle ball out.
I don't know what he was doing this game, but...
Pythia comes in for a glorious charge.
My MVP?
Yeah, she comes in while I'm knocked down.
Yep.
And is able to make very quick work of me.
Yep, and she's guided anyway, so she would have hit anywho, and then hits and blows it up, but the thrall blows up on her and kills her.
Yes, the sledge thrall, I believe, rolled very well and immediately killed her back.
Yep.
But now you do have that whole side
so
to yourself.
I'm now able to put the shades at this point into 3 of both of those, so I can get the double score that I need for over here. And then we do go ahead and throw some shots over into the Necrosurgeons, trying to get some ricochet shots. I believe I get 2 of them, leaving 1 alive for you to do whatever you want to do.
Because as soon as the one hits, they're instantly going to die, so no ricochets are triggered. But if you... but I believe 2 of them do die from this.
Yeah, I think I took 2 shots from 2 different guys and dropped 2 of them. Because the one's a little too far out of range, even if I moved up a little bit more, but double scoring was obviously way more important here.
Mm-hmm.
Start looking at my caster again so that I can potentially take out this jack, but at this point, I know that I'm not doing anything as far as assassination is concerned, so Regulus just kind of runs into the middle of everything there to contest that objective, and then I have Belagul run up onto the other one so you don't score either of the 50s for the turn. And then, again, I go ahead and try to get one of these jacks down that is in the area because I need them gone. And at this point, I believe that I had set it up that it didn't matter about my Fury, so I was just going to drop to 0 because I have nowhere to transfer it to. So I was just throwing everything that I had into these heavies and hoping that defense 15 was going to help me hold out for at least another turn. Because I think if I could hold out for one more turn, that I could start kind of eating into the rest of some of this other stuff. But
So you do take a heavy.
Yeah. So we get the heavy. I buy the other attacks into the other heavy for the sake of, because I can.
Yes, but he is unhurt going into this turn at least.
Yes, so he's completely fine. I'm not going to drop the heavy. I mean, I would need both crits and like boxcars on both attacks to do anything. So now we sit here and hope defense 15 keeps me alive.
Yeah, going into this turn, I'm looking at both our clocks, right? You at 3:45, me at just under 10. While you are double scoring that side, other than my lone surgeon and a jack, I don't have much over there. Killing Belagul and killing Regulus to double score again, while great, it's just going to become a double score fest. So during this turn, what I decided was, let's go for a good old-fashioned assassination. So we pump up the jacks through the Necrosurgeons, and I believe Eviscerus handing out some focus as well. And we're going to make sure we make quick work of Regulus by just boosting. I'd love to try to harpoon your caster, but once again, being off -3 on the range, and because of the Paragon -6, it's just not going to happen. So we make a quick work of him. Now the plan is to try to get the chicken raptor within 6. That way we can give out Redline and Ghost Walk to that Axe Malefactor. That Axe Malefactor will be able to get all the way into your caster. The Sludge Thralls are also going to move up and just spray him, and I don't think a single one hit.
No, because he's engaged also, so he goes to defense 19.
Yeah, just trying for something lucky. So we see here we have Ghost Walk on him, we have Redline on him. He's going to charge over for free. Carnage is up because the Viscerus did run back to that center. So I'm going to be Mat 9 into a 15, and it is going to be POW 20s into him. I believe a few of these did hit, but there's nowhere for any of this to go, and it's dice plus because his armor is 17. So dice plus 3 on each of these. With some of these being able to hit, being plus 3, we'll be able to take him out with a charge.
Yep, pretty handily. So,
yeah.
All right, that was a good game.
It was a great game.
Yeah, definitely like those mistakes we were calling out during the game. Just having that shadow bind helping me out with like when I missed the one Paragon attack or when the character heavy jumped in also. And like there's several attacks that I missed that shadow bind just fixes that. Especially because those guys are rat 7. I could have probably even aimed a couple of them if I had thought about it. And then giving up that Hydrix extra when I probably didn't need to, I think was kind of a detriment to my whole thing. We did end the game 11-11 though.
Yes.
So I was able to keep up with the scenario, even though you were able to double score on me, I believe.
Yes, no, you were. I do think going in on your feet turn, if you would have been able to kill the one Jack that was in the center, and then later the second Jack that came in there, that would have been really great for you, just double scoring the top, having a heavy alive over there, and then Valak just running around, and both my heavies being on the southern side, having to stay by the 50s. That would have been a great situation, and at that point you do start to out-threat me, because if the other heavy still has Hunter's Mark and backs up a bit, you're going to start out threatening me, and we're going to play this game completely sideways. Yeah,
so it's definitely an interesting game. I definitely would want to like try it again one day. But having a Viscerus just gain focus every turn after his feat because he's like, I'm not going to move, is wonderful.
He does have to be camped in a pretty comfortable position, which he did feel this game. But I think going first in a Khymaera really helped. If you would have gotten to go first right off the line, a Viscerus can't do that as much. I get one turn of doing it, and then I got to start to make some moves and probably trade to my own detriment. So going first really helped.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, as soon as you said that you were going to be taken first, I was like, uh-oh. Because I think then at least the threats of certain things kind of flip ever so slightly. Just because of the Hunter's Mark threats that I can provide and everything like that. Even with you dug in, if I can get some good boostables off, then if I can just get a heavy get a heavy from you versus the other way around to start, I would definitely feel off in a better position.
Well, and to comment on the scenario for this Steamroller packet, I think going second still isn't bad. The only reason I did, I also wanted you to go second, or I would have wanted to go second, I'm sorry, is because of that extra scoreable piece you get. Just in this game, it seemed pretty centralized. Mm-hmm. There are some games, though, if that would have been even further back, even towards the end of the game, I would have never been able to contest it. In this case, as it was, you still scored it every turn except the final turn.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, great.
Yep. All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the game.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here and to play.
All righty. All right. Well, we'll see you guys all next time. All right. Thanks.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to check out some additional content, including post-player, blogs, art, and early releases to support the channel, please check out our Patreon link in the video description below. If there are any factions, warcasters, or warlocks you would like to see on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. See you on the next Tried and True Battle Report.